Meanwhile, it's summer vacation for the Giants. But what went wrong? We'll look for some answers. And some rock legends learn the importance of keeping more than your instruments fine-tuned.
Sports Update, a presentation of Channel 2 Sports, is sponsored in part by your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Here's Rock Road.
Have you ever wondered how aging rock stars like Mick Jagger stay fit for those grueling concerts and tours? Well, recently, our sports editor, Vinny Cirielli, caught up with Jethro Tull. Don't tell this legendary group that they're too old to rock and roll. And there they go. What does running a marathon and this familiar rock tune have in common? Well, just ask lead guitarist Martin Barre of the legendary rock group Jethro Tull. Sports Update caught up with him and the band during their recent visit to New York City and found out that getting in tune to run a marathon is similar to being able to tune a guitar.
You can run a marathon for fun, and as long as you complete the course, it doesn't really matter. And then there's one that, well, they want to do a sub-4, a sub-3.5, a sub-3. I mean, there's a whole spectrum of fun runners to professionals, which is the great thing about marathons, because it's like if you learn to play guitar, you would never have the opportunity of getting on stage with Larry Carlton or, I don't know, George Benson, whoever, Eric Clapton. But being a runner, you can run with professional guys anytime you like, you know. It meant a lot to me to not only do a marathon, and do several of them, but to sort of get a reasonable time and in half marathons, because you've got something that says you've done that, you've achieved something that a lot of people can't do. And I love running, but I've never ever persuaded anybody to run with me. It's not for everybody, and it's fun, and if somebody wants to do it, they'll come along with me. I don't want to make anybody do anything. I love doing it, so it's easy for me.
You run every day?
I run every day I can. There's a few towns that have beaten me, but not many. A few towns in America. I've even run along old railway tracks. You sort of get downtown in the hotel, and I go out the door, and I'm the sort of Sherlock Holmes of running. I sort of sniff the air and find out where the car fumes are the least, and go that way. And you know, sometimes you find a park or a river, and it's great.
As Marty's sudden interest in running marathons and working out rubbed off on lead singer and songwriter Ian Anderson.
Martin, I wouldn't say was an inspiration. If any inspiration came, it was probably from my wife calling me, if I remember the words correctly, a fat, balding, lunatic, white blob was about the most vitriolic that she got. And so that concerned me a little. And I thought she might, you know, trade me in for a younger model. And so I thought I'd better do something about it.
Don't wanna be a fat man, people are thinking I was just a
I lost 17% of my body weight to get back to 140 pounds, and then with the view to being careful to get back up to somewhere around about 147, 150 pounds if I'm in, should we say, fighting trim. But I mean, the whole thing about all this health stuff, and especially when you get to our kind of middle age, you know, you mustn't get too crazy about it. I really think that people can get carried away. You know, the important thing is that there is somewhere each individual has a natural propensity to feel good with himself at a certain weight and a certain kind of condition. You know, for some people, they're going to necessarily feel comfortable, look comfortable, you know, and be healthy at maybe a slightly different weight for their height to other guys. Some people are, you know, much broader framed or whatever. So, you know, it's really silly to get too crazy about it and think that everybody, you know, if they're, you know, if you're 5'10", then you have to weigh no more than 150 pounds or whatever the books might tell you. You know, that could be dangerous for some people.
I'm not an expert, obviously, on any of this business at all, but I know from other people's mistakes exactly all I need to know about working out. And in actual fact, that there's so many people who can do harm, certainly calling themselves trainers, just through the wrong approach, not sort of appraising somebody's physical ability and what they want from it, but I think you can do a lot of damage. But I understand. I've never had a trainer, but I really understand what I'm doing. I mean, I made sure that I knew exactly what I was doing.
Martin works pretty hard to achieve and maintain that kind of stamina, that kind of sporting ability, because he is not a jogger, he is a runner, you know, and he runs and runs with some pretty serious athletes, you know, when he's training. And I mean, I say I don't run with him, so I don't know how good he is, but I'm sure I wouldn't keep up with him, you know, like half a mile down the road, I'd be stopping for a beer, you know.
Right. Remember, stay young and keep on running, and also remember, you're never too old to rock and roll.